How's it going, guys? It's 8elf, and for today's video I kind of want to do something a little bit special. Not really entertaining wise, it's more information wise. So basically I'm just going to be talking this entire time and not really doing anything visually on the screen. So if you're playing WoW or playing a game or watching something or doing something, I highly recommend having this video just in the background to listen to, and you don't necessarily have to actually have it open to watch, because I'm not really going to be doing anything. I might jump around a couple times or just walk around, dally around sewers, but specifically I'm not going to be talking about what I'm doing on the screen. I'm going to be talking about things I've learned in the past couple weeks during the season that will hopefully help you. This is going to be pretty much regarding like comps, in arena, and what comps are good, what comps are like. I'm going to kind of divide them into maybe 3 or 4 tiers, like top tier comps, second tier, third tier, and then kind of comps that are just not really useful, or not really top tier or good, but they're fun and they kind of work. So yeah, hopefully this will help you decide with your friends what to kind of put together and what to play. And I definitely have learned a lot these past few days and these past few weeks in general, and I really want to share that with you guys so you can hopefully understand. If you're some 2.2k plus player and you kind of know what the game is like already, I highly recommend not watching this video. It's nothing really advanced, it's just kind of basic stuff, again, to help people learn and help people understand how things work, and the state of the game, and hopefully stuff that will help you. So yeah, I just kind of want to jump into it. Comps that are really good right now, like I'm considering top tier comps, not really based off difficulty. It's going to be based off ease of winning. It's pretty, they're going to be comps that are very cohesive together, that work well, that will win a large portion of games, that have very few counters, and that are very strong right now based off overall class strength in combination with each other. The first one I'm talking about is LSD. A lot of people obviously know this just because BlizzCon champions Soda, Talbadar, and Chanimals won BlizzCon. They went flawless. They never lost a single game, and that's because they played LSD. If you're unfamiliar with what LSD is, it's Lock, Shaman, Druid, a Affliction Warlock, Ellie Shaman, and Resto Druid. Now, this is very strong because if you take into consideration currently in the game, Ellie Shamans are extremely strong. Their procs and their overall damage is really powerful, and then on top of that, you have to consider their ability to pillar. Defensively turtling is extremely, it's a very bursty season and very gear dependent, so being able to pillar and just hide defensively and top your team up is very useful. On top of that, they have grounding totem and tremor totem to help your healer get out of CC, and then healing stream and healing tide totem, which are huge healing benefits to the overall team, and they're just really good team players. Really strong damage, and it's a very useful hybrid class in the game currently. So if you consider that a single target strength plus the Affliction Warlock's AoE strength, on top of having a Resto Druid, which is in my opinion probably one of the better healers of the season, that overall consideration makes LSD really strong. The gateway the lock gives allows for teams to quickly turtle and get out of dodge pretty much, and just get the hell out of there if stuff gets troublesome. The overall composition of symbiosing a shaman gives you solar beam, which is really good for root beams, basically another CC on a healer. And like I said, it's just very consistent, single target damage with overall spread pressure, and this is pretty much what makes teams really good nowadays. You have to consider though with LSD, some of the downfalls are the game really doesn't start until 10 minutes. If you know what that means, is basically dampening starts at 10 minutes, so you're not really going to be able to get a kill until dampening, unless you're playing a team that really has no idea what they're doing, or you're extremely organized and you line up your stuff perfectly. You're going to have a really hard time getting a kill before dampening, or before the team uses a lot of major defensive cooldowns, just because of the overall LSD is built to outlast other comps, and that's a huge benefit. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of the overall of LSD. It's really scummy. I hate playing it. Honestly, it takes forever to win. but you do win like 90% of the games you play, and pretty much nothing counters LSD unless you play correctly and play really perfectly against LSD. It's really hard to actually beat them. So yeah, it's guaranteed wins pretty much if you're good, but it's really a long match. It's 20-minute matches or 15-minute matches every single game, and to play it right, you gotta just turtle and be a scumbag. So yeah, another top tier comp I've been playing recently is Thundercleave, and I've been having a lot of fun playing Thundercleave. I just started playing it yesterday, and it was really fun. I got a lot of rating really quick, just pretty much never lost. Thundercleave is a warrior, a healer, and a Ellie Shaman. I traditionally played with a Holy Pally or Resto Druid. We're playing it with a Resto Druid. It's really fun, and again, you gotta take the advantages of an Ellie Shaman, and then add a warrior to it. It's got extremely powerful single target damage. The ability to turtle and sit around a pillar is, it's there. The warrior can jump across the map and get back and get into a defensive position if need be. The Shaman has extremely useful, obviously, utility in the team. And like I said, the single target pressure makes this comp extremely strong, because pretty much you're allowed to train a single enemy the entire game, and this will basically guarantee you the win, just because if you're considering a warrior, which is extremely strong single target damage, and an Ellie Shaman, which is extremely strong single target damage, plus you have that RNG chance of getting a really high proc and like a crit, so you get like 3 lava bursts, plus you hit like 100k slam, you can kill somebody. And yesterday we were literally killing mages. I killed a mage with the help of my warrior friend Terry, like literally 400, like he was at 400k, and we killed him down. We killed him in like literally 1 second, with Ascendance popped and Recklessness and Skull Banner, because Skull Banner with lava burst is just insane amounts of damage. And most people we kill don't have a chance to use defensive, just because the damage is so fast and so quick, and that's a huge offensive and defensive benefit, because if you're constantly putting the other team on a defensive position, they're never going to have a chance to come around and hit you really hard offensively. It's really, nowadays, the person with the pressure, the team with the pressure, is the team that's going to win, because they're putting the other team in a position where they don't have the power, they don't have the ability to go for a kill. So if you're constantly pushing in and going for a kill and making sure you're trying to get that win, you're gonna have a better time playing, and you're gonna have an easier time playing, because people who you're going against aren't gonna have the ability to try to do the same to you, because they're gonna be constantly worried about making sure they're alive and keeping themselves up and using defensives and playing smart instead of actually playing aggressive. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. Sometimes the best offense is, or sometimes the best defense is actually a good offense. So that's something to consider. Another top tier comp right now is WMD. It's pretty good. I wouldn't consider it as strong as LSD, or actually, here, let me step back. WMD is probably more like a second tier comp, but another comp that's really strong is MLS. That's what I was gonna say. Mage Lock Shaman, and obviously, if you could say Shamans are pretty popular this season. They're really strong. They're generally team players. They're extremely beneficial to play, and Mage Lock Shaman is extremely good. It's similar to LSD, not to the fact that you have your single target damage, you have your aids, you have your overall your dot damage, and then you have your CC chain, which is the craziest part about MLS. So you're considering you have Hex, which is your 8 second, you have your Polymorph, which Hex and Polymorph DR, so I'm going to completely take out Hex. So you have your Polymorph, you have your 8, 4, and 2 second Polymorph, so that totals up to 14 seconds. And then you have your Fear, your 8, 4, and 2 second Fear, which totals up to another 14 seconds. So theoretically, with no overlap, which is never impossible, in a perfect situation, you can have a 28 second DR or 28 second CC chain. And then if you top that off with Deep Freeze, so on top of that would be another 5, and then maybe a Mortal Coil, so a 3. We're looking at a continuous CC chain. And this is what makes MLS really powerful. It's because their ability to control and cross CC the entire map and the entire enemy team. You can have a full poly on one guy, and you can have a full fear on another guy, and then you're attacking your single target. and at the entire time you're rotting the whole team down with your your dot damage, which is really crazy. So I think really that's why MLS is so strong. Its ability to CC and to kill. Frost mages right now have a really high potential for burst, and then the Warlock spread pressure is always beneficial in any team. So I think those are pretty much the 3 top tier I'm saying comps right now. This is based off what I've been watching on live streams, what I've been listening to with high rated players, what I've been seeing on the leaderboards. I've been seeing Thundercleave, LSD, and MLS right now being really strong comps. Second tier comps are, like I said, WMD. It's pretty good. I've been playing it a lot. I play it around to 2K, and it basically allows you. You need to be extremely offensive to be accurate with WMD, which is Warrior Mage Druid. So basically, it's like RMD, but when it comes down to it, you need to be more offensive. To be effective with WMD, you need to be 100% on the offense all the time to be good. It's 100% offensive comp, and that kind of makes it difficult. It is beneficial with the Druid though to cross CC with clones, but the overall benefit is to be 100% offensive, because whenever you get a turtle, it's when you're going to suffer. So WMD is an extremely strong comp to consider, but just make sure you're 100% offensive. Another second tier kind of comp is KFC. It's really good, but it's really simple, and it has, people kind of get caught up in, oh, it's so easy, let's just play it. But when you come down to it, a lot of teams, like I was talking about, MLS, LSD, Thundercleave, they can counter, they can counter your KFC pretty easily if they play it right. So KFC is obviously your single target burst damage with your scatter traps. It's pretty much the hunter carries the team with the CC wise, because when it comes down to it, it's going to be pretty much reliant on the hunter to get the scatter traps in order to go for a kill. So if you're playing KFC, just make sure you get your hunter can get your traps and your warrior does his fear properly, stuff like that. I don't really like playing KFC. I find it's too easy to win. I know it's kind of reverse, but yeah, that's pretty strong right now. But like I said, it's not as strong as people kind of think it is. I mean, really around like 1750 MMR, like up to or maybe a 2.1k MMR, you're gonna see a lot of KFC just because it's easy to run. Like I said, it's easy to get wins, and people like winning. So you have that. But past that, it's you're not gonna see it as much as you do in the lower MMR brackets. So something to consider though, what counters it, basically, if you consider that you have an Ellie Shaman on the enemy team, you go to scatter and you trap, Ellie Shaman can just ground the trap. And you go to fear, Ellie Shaman can just tremor the fear. So basically one character on the enemy team is completely countering your entire CC chain. So that's something to consider in seeing why KFC isn't as strong as other comps. So yeah. So second tier we have WMD, KFC. RMD is pretty good right now. That was kind of a toss-up. I mean, it's really strong, but I think it can kind of get countered in the long game. RMD is more of a RMD or RMP. It's more of a short game comp, a burst comp. And nowadays, it seems like if you can't kill somebody in the first global, it's going to be a 20-minute game or a really long game, because the comps nowadays aren't really anything intermediate. It's more a burst comp or a long duration, and RMD is a burst comp, and most teams nowadays have defensive to survive the RMD's burst. So I don't really feel it's as strong as like a first tier comp, but it's pretty strong. I mean, the opener is really wicked. There's countless times I've been globaled by RMD in the opener, just because blades with deep and orb is an insane amount of damage onto you, and if you don't have any way to negate that, like pretty much on a shaman all I have is Sham Rage, I'm gonna get hit really hard and really quickly, and if I'm gonna smoke bomb or my healer gets trinkets and then gets full blind, I'm pretty much done. So I think when you're fighting RMD, make sure you use your trinket extremely safe. I pretty much only save it for blind. I only trinket blind because that's the main CC that they're going to be throwing out, that has a huge cooldown and can't really be avoided. You can't get out of it unless you death blind, but we're not Zaru. So yeah, RMD is extremely strong, but just if you're playing it, just keep into consideration the longer the game goes on, the higher chance you have actually losing. So just make sure you play it right, play it smart, and try to kill quickly as possible. Like I said, you know, LSD and other comps, MLS, they thrive on playing longer games than, you know, just a quick like 1 or 2 minutes. So quick kills is you know, easy wins. So another comp that I've been seeing is Boomkin Warrior. Boomkins are actually kind of crazy right now. There's a lot of them at the top of the leaderboard, which I'm really happy about because I just bought a Boomkin. But yeah, Boomkin Warrior is pretty crazy just because of the Boomkin ability. It's kind of like Boomkin. It's kind of like a Warrior Ellie, but Boomkin isn't as strong specifically as an Ellie Shaman. If you pop Heart, Boomkin's got amazing team heals. If you know, you got your Cyclones for cross CC. If you play with a Priest, which is really good, you know, your Priest gets Cyclones as well, which is crazy. So you know, you can be cycloning 2 targets and then on your main target, and then you know, you have Solar Beam, your Brutes. The counter melee class is pretty hard, Boomkins that is, because you know, you can spam Brutes, and you know, overall the dot damage is pretty strong. They have really inconsistent burst damage, which is, I'm gonna say inconsistent because you get a lot of Star Surge procs when the entire team has dots on them, but when it comes down to it, you can hit like a 40k Star Surge, or you can get hit like 150k Star Surge. It's not really consistent when it comes down to actually hitting the big damage and seeing like lining up. So pretty much when I was playing on my Boomkin, I really played not knowing when I was going to get a kill. I just hit a really high hit and end up killing a target and be like, oh, that's cool, you know, we won. But Boomkin's damage isn't really consistent when it comes down to it. It's more of a hybrid class with cross CC. The cross CC and, you know, the ability to heal and support your team is what makes it really good as a class. So yeah, Boomkin Warrior, and then like a Priest is pretty second tier, maybe third tier. It's pretty strong, but not as strong. Another second tier comp is Beast Cleave. Really a really fun cleave to play. It's pretty scumbagish when it comes down to actually globing somebody with just pretty much one button. But you know, Shamans are real strong and I can't complain because I play one. But Beast Cleave is pretty crazy. I played it, it's really fun. You pretty much get your, you know, it's an enhancement hunter and then like a healer, usually a Priest or a Holy Pally. But you know, you get your full scatter trap and they can't trinket it, and you pop your Ascendance and you're gonna get a major cooldown for sure. Either it be, you know, bubble block or something extremely, you know, like wall, sham range, I don't know. But it's really cool to play, it's fun, and you know, the enhancement shaman has a lot of utility. Insta cast, huge heals, you know, your grounding, your tremor, it just makes it good. It's pretty strong, like I said, but you just need to worry about your shaman or your hunter. Both, pretty much your whole team is extremely susceptible to high burst damage. If you're playing with the priest hits a CC chain, one of your teammates is going to die, or you're going to need to pop, you know, deterrence or sham rage. Priests are bad this season. Well, not bad, but healing priests aren't as good because, you know, they're susceptible to CC chains. Okay, so that's pretty much like second tier. They're kind of average comps. A really good first tier comp I forgot to include. I'm just kind of making this up as I go, so I'm just thinking of comps I play and what's good and what's strong, just to give you guys an idea of teams to put together. But the good first tier comp I completely forgot was God Comp. It's very good, but not as good as it used to be. But God Comp now consists of a Shadow Priest, a Frost Mage, and a Resto Druid. And this can be, you know, translated to Shatter play, which is with a Resto Shaman, but I think God Comp is overall better to play. So, you know, the Shadow Priest has a lot of damage potential. The dots hit really high, plus the Shadow Priest, if it's running with the proc talent setup, if you run, you know, if you have your 3 procs and your Devouring Plague, it's really strong burst damage there. Plus, you're considering the Mage's burst damage, which is insane. So if you kind of equate that together, you can kill people in a deep freeze, which we have done before, and it's really fun. Utility's there, and it allows you to pretty much turtle whenever you need to, because you have the Shadow Priest off heals with the, you know, the Druid, and the Druid gets Disperse or Ice Block, both of which being very good. And yeah, it's an overall really cool comp, and it's fun to play. It's relatively easy. If you're a Resto Druid, Shadow Priest, or Mage, and you're trying to get, you know, an easy 2K, I would highly recommend playing God Comp. It's one of the easier comps, and it's fun. It is fun, and you know, when you win, you feel deserving because you kind of have to work a little bit. You need some skill to play, and need some setup. But when it comes down to it, it's not as difficult as some other comps to play. So yeah, highly recommend God Comp. Definitely like a first tier. Third tier comps is kind of like the bottom of the barrel, stuff that really isn't meant to go together but kind of works. It consists of like Shadow Priest, Boomkin. We were playing that on live stream a couple days ago. It's really fun. It's really rewarding to win, but it doesn't really work 100% of the time. It'd more be like LSD2 if we had an Affliction lock, but Terry just wanted to play Shadow Priest, so stuff like that. Thinking double warrior like Lumberjack. You can play Turbo Cleave. Turbo Cleave's pretty good. It's not as good to be like a second tier comp. It's pretty much just run and gun. You gotta burst your comp. You gotta burst your guy down. If you don't, you lose. TSG is like a third tier in my opinion, just because TSG for me is really easy to counter. You pretty much just go DK all game, CC the warrior, and you win. Just because, you know, if you shut down the warrior's damage or you shut down the DK's damage, you're pretty much going to be able to get a quick kill on either of them. And yeah, it's not as good as it used to be for sure. You know, and then pretty much any other third tiers comps you just throw together, anything that you think works and stuff like that. Can almost stop the video here because it's getting a bit long, but hopefully this helped you guys. I know it was really scrambled, so I do apologize a lot for kind of being all over the place, just because I'm pretty much just thinking of it as I go, and I just wanted to, for the newer players, so the people that don't have as much experience in threes, I want to kind of open your mind and, you know, get some consideration when you think about playing comps. And when you think about playing threes, the first thing you think of is probably KFC. And I wanted to elaborate and make sure you guys understand that KFC isn't the only thing you have to play, you know, to be good and to have fun. So hopefully I got some comp ideas into your guys' head and motivate you guys to go key some threes. And yeah, so good luck to everybody. Hopefully this helped you a little bit. If it didn't, you know, I do apologize. It was kind of convoluted and everything like that. But yeah, make sure to check out my live stream. It'll be linked in the below. Adelph Hipster, check that out. Thank you Russian92 for donating another $40. Man, it's insane. It's $80 this month. It's crazy. If you're curious in donating and, you know, helping support the channel on the live stream, link is always in the description. And yeah, hopefully you guys have an excellent day. Thanks for watching. See you later.